I scored a whole bunch of money from that and went on to make that kind of stuff. Audio Surf, which is available on Steam now. I know it's not a Flash game, but again, it was the same thing. He used to have a website called bestgameintheuniverse.com, and every week he'd release a new game. Audio Surf was one of them in a very prototype fashion. And again, it had the most web hits. So rapid prototyping, make a whole bunch of toys, make a whole bunch of core mechanics, find out which one people like the most, and turn that into a game. And then there's contract work. It may not be making a game, but it can sure help pay the bills. And if you're looking to make money making Flash games, it's something you should seriously consider. I really like contract work because I'm sure you're most familiar with this picture. As students, you lose all your money, and you're learning at the same time. Contract work, however, is companies paying you to learn. It's so great. I'm fairly new to Flash myself, but I had no idea how to manipulate video in Flash. And that's one of the big things that Flash does. Like YouTube is all video stuff, right? I didn't even know how to open a video clip. Like I was completely clueless. And the US military actually contracted me to make them a version of YouTube. I had about a month and a half to do it, and they gave me 10 grand for it. Now, it sure helps that there's pre-made YouTube clones already open source and not available on the net, but I was able to pull them apart, figure out how video works, and I went through this awesome learning experience over a month and a half on everything to do with video manipulation and storage and all this kind of stuff, and they paid me for it. It was wonderful. So definitely think about contract work, but finding contract work usually requires that you have a name for yourself, either by excellent branding and blogging and all that kind of stuff, or by making a game first. So, so getting away from these things and getting more into the actually how to sell your games and stuff like that. Well, one other thing, it's kind of like contract work, it's advert games. Advert games, that's my awesome artwork. Advert games are when a company pays you to make a moving advertisement. That can essentially be anything from, I don't know, Punch the Monkey to a Red Bull air racing game, animated banner ads, all the way up to a full-blown game. The minimum I've ever seen one of those go was, I think Punch the Monkey was originally developed for $500 or $1,000, something like that. Just decent. You can make pound off 2 of those a month and there's rent. Easy, right? Then you got up to full-blown games. There's an air racing game for Red Bull they wanted me to make. I didn't get the contract, but it's basically just a Red Bull airplane weaving in around some cones. Really simple, no fancy physics or anything like that. It's meant to be like a 1-minute game. That ended up going to a guy for $6 grand. And I'm sure it didn't take him much more than a week to make. So, advert games out there, basically you can find posts about them in forums and things like that, people looking for things. So keep your eye open for that. Okay, so for actually selling your own game, your own actual hard-earned stuff, there's 2 markets, really. There's ad-supported and not ad-supported. And I'll go into the ad-supported stuff first. Basically this means that your game is just up on a website somewhere. There's advertisements in the game, possibly, or around the game in the browser window, which is more typical. And those ones are the bread and butter of the Flash world right now, but it isn't necessarily the future of the Flash world. So, but I'll cover those ones first. So the first one is called self-publishing your Flash game. Self-publishing your Flash game is when you make a website, such as these awesome guys from the UK, Nitrome or Nitrome, whatever. NitroMe.com. Yes. Basically, these are a little development studio, started, 2 brothers made it, and they made every single game on their website. And they try to get a new game every month, and their entire stream of revenue is from the banner ad across the top, banner ad down the side, that's it. Their whole core model is they want to get a whole bunch of people playing their games, and the more eyeballs you have on your site, the more people playing your games, the more ad revenue you get, et cetera, right? So they try to get as many games out as possible. They're a small development studio, they can only get 1 game out a month, but they typically cancel 1 game a month as well. So these are guys making a game every 2 weeks. They cancel one, and then they polish the other. So it's an excellent business model. It takes a lot of work though, because if you only have 1 game on that site, you're not going to get any return traffic. Someone's going to come to your site, play your one game, leave, never come back again, right? So it's a lot of work, not only driving traffic to your site, buying ads on other sites to drive traffic back to your site, maybe branding your games with your website and then putting them on other websites, you know, all that kind of marketing stuff gets into it. It's very businessy, very time consuming. It can be very profitable. These two guys now have a team of 5, I think, and they're looking for 2 more. So they're successful enough, and they live right downtown London, so I'm sure the rent is in. But yeah. The next one is self-sponsor. So basically this is when you go to a website like Newgrounds or Congregate or something like that, you can upload your game to these sites free of charge. They don't charge you for it. Anyone can upload any Flash game to these sites. But this awesome little wizard ad has been popular on everything for the last month, and the Swiffer ad too. Those ads right there are what's making you money. So you make the game, you put it on the site, you don't typically get money for that banner ad across the top. That's what Newgrounds gets. Congregate's an exception. Congregate will actually give you a 40% cut, I think, maximum of their ad revenues. So they give you a lot of money. But you don't control your traffic. You don't control your user base. You just upload a game, someone sees it, and moves on. They're not your customer. It's their customer. And you're helping them make money. I was looking at typical click-throughs. So you usually get paid like, I don't know, 0.001 of a cent when you click that button. If you click on the big banner ad, they get $2. So they're in the money, and you're just helping them by littering their site with 100 new games a week. So there's always something, always good content for people. You can make some decent money that way. A lot of people put up 2 games a month, a game a month, maybe a game every 3 months. And they can even pay out. Well, usually over time. I think in the long tail of things, after a year, they're making you like $50 a month or something. But if you make enough $50 a month's games, then that covers your bills, right? And you can start building on that. So it's not much, but they're not very good games either. All right, final one is sponsoring and publishing. Basically what this is instead of you putting the game yourself up here, what you do is you shop your game around to all the different portal sites. All the different sites out there, Congregate, King.com, Armor Games, all these different sites. And you say, hey, who wants my game? And they will bid on your game and say, hey, if I get this game exclusively on my website, I'll pay you a few grand. And that exclusivity period is usually something like a month or something like that. And then you can release it on other sites as well. But it's a good way to get a real shot in the arm. This is how I actually made Steambirds. So Steambirds is a game, it was heavily tested, but privately. It wasn't publicly available anywhere. And that was key for this, because these portals want a fresh new game. If it's been out in the public before, it's not fresh anymore. So what I did is I made the game, put it up for bid on an awesome website called Flash Game License. Flash Game License is an awesome site where all of the sponsors go and all the game creators go. You upload your game for free, it sits there, and all the sponsors come by and say, hey, I want that on my site, I want it there exclusively, I'll give you whatever grand for it. They have 6,000 games on there right now. On average, they sold around $2,000 per game. It's not a lot. But each game was, most of those games are those junk games I was talking about, right? Flash games are primarily made by 12-year-olds, it seems like, the level of thought and design that goes into things, right? But as soon as you put a decent game in front of it, like, my game is decent, right? It's, yeah, Steambirds made, as of today, it's probably somewhere around 40 grand. And Steambirds took me a month to make, or a month of full-time work to make, 3 months really, because I'm lazy. So, yeah, so it's, it can be a lot of money in there. You have to shop the game around a little bit, but just to get your game onto a site like this. But once you get it there, you can be rolling in the money. The key is you have to make a good game, though, that actually fits your target audience. There's alternate methods, though. To get away from these ad-supported games, I don't really like ads. I kind of did it as a way to pay the bills, but I always was kind of gritting my teeth while I was putting my game up on sites like these. So there are alternate methods. People don't realize that you can actually charge money for a Flash game, sight unseen, have people pay for it, download it, and play it. Awesome example of that is Machinarium. People don't even realize it's a Flash game. It's downloadable from Steam, also from their website. They have a demo up on their website now. But it's basically just a point-and-click adventure game. It won an IGF award, I think, this year. It's a pretty decent game, and it's making a whole lot of money, but people don't even know it's a Flash game. All they did is they stuck it in an EXE. It's a free packager program, and it just runs on your computer like any other application. And they made a whole bundle of money off that. You can also do a paid unlock method. That first game I mentioned, Fantastic Contraption, used this method. It was essentially, you can play through the game for free, all the default levels and everything like that. You have access to all that. But for $10, paid through PayPal, you get access to the level editor and all levels created in the level editor. So you get complete access to all the user-generated content. And well, yeah, that's Machinarium. That's a screenshot of it if you don't recognize the name. Fantastic Contraption, yeah, just had that little button up in the top right corner there. You can click on it, and yeah, it'll take you right to PayPal, and that sold just under $1 million now. So getting your game in front of people and asking for money does work. But how many games do you know that say, click here and give me $10, and not as a donation, but actually unlocking more content? Now, a lot of games are doing that, like DLC and stuff like that, and all these downloadable games, and you can buy add-on packs and all that kind of stuff, but nobody really tried it for the Flash market. And I think Fantastic Contraption was the second game to do it. But,